Hey there, how's it going? Today we're going to have a look at working through troubleshooting between PowerTeacher Pro and Canvas. Remember, in PowerTeacher Pro, we don't actively touch anything in terms of adding grades. You can delete. We'll talk about a couple of those instances out of PowerTeacher Pro, but a majority of the work and touching of the grades and manipulating them is all going to take place in Canvas. On my screen, you see I've got, on the left-hand side, I've got an Algebra 2 course up. And on the right-hand side, it's the matching, the counterpart, so to say, in PowerTeacher Pro. So when we're looking at these, if we're trying to figure out if grades are matching, we're going to start on the right-hand side in PowerTeacher Pro. The easiest view to do this in is once you're in the PowerTeacher Pro, click the A+ grading. This is going to pop out a menu for you. And I like to use score sheet or category totals. And here's why. So if you do category totals, it's going to give you your students' names. You can't see them, they're blurred out. But it'll give you the overall grade that they're working with. And then also as you scroll, you'll see whatever your categories are. So in PowerSchool, it's classwork, test, project, quiz. Some of you have added other categories. That's fine. Just make sure they're showing. And then you can get this same information on the Canvas side. So on the left side of my screen, my first column is going to stay there because that's the student names. But if we scroll all the way to the end, we're going to be able to check. Let me change some views real quick. Grade periods. Semester 2. There we go. Okay. So now at the end of the grade book, okay, I've got classwork and classwork. Project, it's not always going to be in the exact order. Here, I can move it maybe. Okay, so classwork, test, and project are on the right-hand side of my screen in PowerTeacher Pro, and then they also exist here on the Canvas side. So the first thing we do when we're checking back and forth, go ahead and go the total column. All right, remember PowerSchool rounds. So if it's 83.4, it's going to stay in 83. 83.5 is going to automatically, or above, 0.5, 0.6, 7, 8, 9. Is going to automatically round up to the next whole number. So if you notice this first student has an 83.12 in Canvas, it's only an 83, or it stays as the 83 here in PowerSchool. That's absolutely fine. That means it's rounding properly. So you can go down row by row to confirm that these grades are matching exactly how we need. So that 70, so for this fourth student here, 70.52 does in fact round to a 71. Now, if you come across a grade that doesn't match in the S2 total columns, that's when you want to start working into these category totals. Okay, so in classwork is something, that way it just lets you know, helps you streamline what the problem assignment would be. So classwork, the 80.96 in classwork on Canvas, those match, okay? Now, sometimes so notice in Canvas, it lets you know that your 70% of your grade is classwork. That doesn't tell you this on the PowerTeacher Pro side, but you can double check that. To make sure our category weights, if you use them, are matching. In PowerTeacher Pro, you're going to go to that blue, kind of like global navigation in Canvas, and click the gear under settings. And then you can click traditional grade calculations. And you have to set these pieces up for each individual grade inside PowerTeacher Pro. The first step to check is make sure it says category weighting. And then you're going to click the pencil to ensure that, okay, classwork is 70%, test is 15%, project is 15%. And if those don't match up, you have to make adjustments as necessary. We have that set up in other videos. Say, I'm going to go back into our score sheet here. Actually, let me go back to category totals. All right, so say you're working through this total column and things are matching up, just there's one kiddo who's off, we're not sure why, so I'm just going to pick a random kiddo. You can click on that student's name and it's going to give you a essentially line item summary of what they did that school year. And you can also do the same in Canvas. So I'm going to click on the student's name. It's going to get me this little pop-out menu, and you can click grades. And now you're going to be able to go line by line. I would change the view for due date. That way you get your first let me change this grading period to semester 2, apply. All right, so now this first assignment on the right-hand side, 1-4 Intro to Chapter 4 worksheet with the score of 11. I can also see that in Canvas, 1-4 Intro to Chapter 4 worksheet, score 11. The out of 22, it says it right here if you're working on a specific assignment. So as you click through these, it'll let you know what that, out of how many points, if necessary, if you need to make sure that. So this is how you can work through a specific kiddo. Sometimes what we'll notice when we catch, what we'll catch when we look at it in this capacity is that, say, just an example, 121 solved by factoring worksheet. We have a look over here, and say in PowerSchool it said an 8, but in Canvas it says a 12. For some reason it didn't overwrite. Maybe the kiddo was gone, and so you put that 50% of the grade in just to note that they haven't done it yet. Whatever your grading policies are, that's fine. But for some reason it's not pulled across. So if that's the case, the easiest thing to do there is, one, go into Canvas and do a remaster grade pass back. If that doesn't solve it, then we recommend deleting out of PowerTeacher Pro. Okay, so those are going to be your basic when you're comparing side by side. If you really, to double check that your grades look good on both sides.